Hello and welcome to this behind the scenes video where I'm going to show you how I use Teachery, which is traditionally a course or membership platform, and actually use it to host a digital product. So I just want to mention before we go any further on this video that I will be mentioning a few courses, some memberships and a couple of products that I am all part of as well. So I am a true fan of these people and these products, and I'm also an affiliate. So I will have affiliate links listed below this video. There's no pressure to use my link. You don't have to use it at all. But if you do happen to purchase through it, there's no additional cost to you, but I will earn a small commission. So I really just want to make sure that it's totally clear before I go ahead, because I want to be 100% transparent with you. So just to give you a little bit of a background, I first began using Teachery a few years ago when I was inspired by what I saw Michelle Rohr do. So Michelle Rohr, she has the Magic Is You coaching. She also has her Passive Income Planner Girl course. I'm a student of all of those. In fact, I think I just have everything Michelle's ever made, which is hilarious. And it was in her Passive Income Planner Girl course that she mentions this notion of a customer hub. And this is something that she was doing with her digital products. And I was really inspired by this idea. So I'm mentioning that as well because I want to be completely transparent that this was not my idea. I was totally inspired by Michelle Rohr. And then, beyond that, I really discovered that I had a huge passion for Teachery, which then led me to customizing my customer hubs, and then really just stepping into this position of how can I teach other people how to do this as well. And that's why I started creating the Teachery Makeover course, which I will touch on later on within this video. And I'm also going to touch on my friend Maria Alejandra's course, who talks more about the customer journey. But first of all, let's rewind and go over to Etsy. So this is my Etsy store. This mainly is some of the stuff that I used to be doing in, I guess, a previous business venture. So I decided that I would sell digital adult coloring books because drawing is a passion of mine. I also started a membership which I hosted on Teachery called the Creative Happy Life Club. That was great as well, but in the end it just was a bit of a time sap, and so I ended up bundling all of that material into a product that I've now hosted on Teachery called the Happy Hub. And so I'm mentioning that now because this is all going to feed into that final destination of the Happy Hub. So this happens to be one of my, well, actually this is my most popular product on my Etsy store. And so inspired by Michelle Rohr, I actually ended up creating a customer hub on Teachery. When I say customer hub, all that is essentially just somewhere where I can take my Etsy customer, move them onto my own platform, or aka Teachery, and then be able to have that communication with them rather than being constrained by Etsy's rules and regulations and how they do things. I'm taking them from the soup of all the creators on Etsy and moving them over into a dedicated space where I can have a deeper level of connection with that customer. So if you're thinking this sounds really good, but you're confused on that stepping stone from taking them from Etsy over to Teachery, here is how you do it. So included within the downloads, so I have the downloads for the A4 version, the letter version, and then there's also a bonus download. So you'll see if I scroll down here, oopsie, there is this PDF here labeled as bonus gifts. Obviously that sounds very appealing to my customer. Once they download this file and they open it up, this is what they will see. And it's essentially just giving them, let me zoom out a little bit. It's essentially just giving them an invitation to go and join my Teachery Hub, which has these bonus goodies here. So they have a sample of coloring pages, plus a sample of one of my planners, and also a cute digital illustration that I created as a phone wallpaper. So this is just something as a little extra to kind of entice them to go and join the hub, but equally give them, that delight factor as well. So this is where I want to shout out my friend Maria Alejandra, because if this customer journey thing sounds really appealing to you, her course goes into all of the stepping stones in much more detail, and it is so perfect if you're new to Teachery and you're trying to navigate your way around. So the bit that I've actually just shown you as well, I have used one of her Canva templates. So this hub template here, super useful for someone like me, because whilst I love designing stuff in Teachery, I actually find these little detail bits really boring. And so I don't get excited about designing stuff like this. And it was so easy for me to just use one of her templates and get it up and running. So this is one of her templates here. I've obviously just chosen one of them, customized it to my liking with my brand colors, added in little screenshots of my printables, and away we go. This is actually hyperlinked, and you can add hyperlinks in Canva, super easy as well. Again, her course also talks about that as well. And then here are some of the other designs that she's provided for you. They are just beautiful. Everything she creates is beautiful. So whoever buys her course is just going to have an absolute well of a time, because yeah, as I said, she is a very, very talented designer and talented Teachery designer as well. If you look at her actual course, so if I open that back up, you can just see how beautiful everything is. And to be honest, I know that I'm a good Teachery designer as well, but we have very, very different styles, and I absolutely love her design style. So yeah, there's a lot that you can learn from her course. So as I said, I've referenced it below. So let's just quickly flick back to talking about this PDF again. As I said, you can add the hyperlink there to take your customer to your Teachery course. So I'm just going to show you what happens when they click this. So I'm just going to copy this link. I'm copying it because I want to open it up in a new incognito window. So when your customer clicks that, they are going to be taken to a Teachery payment page. Essentially, it's a free payment page that you set up within Teachery, and all they would do is they would add in their first name, last name, email address, confirm all of that, and then they'll be able to access your hub. I appreciate that this page for me needs a little bit of design work, but let's just ignore that for now. And I'm going to actually take you to the Colouring Companion Hub so you can see exactly what I've done in there as well. So once someone logs in, they will head to here, which is my Teachery overview page for the Colouring Companion. And I've just got a little bit of an intro, a way that they can contact me here if they have a request for the bundle. And then I have this section here, which is a brief introduction. I am going to actually record a welcome video for that section, because I really feel like when there's a video of someone's face and they're talking to you and you can hear them, it just adds that human connection, which I think is so important. So that's on my to-do list, but at the moment it's just got some FAQs and things like that. And then here is how they access their downloads. So they would have been given this in Etsy anyway, but I wanted to make this a little bit more easy to use. So they have the big call to action here where they can download everything, or they have the option to come down to here and download individual pages. And so I've got these little thumbnails, and I've just organized everything in a table to make it easy. And they can see at a glance all of the printables that are currently included in this bundle. Now, of course, if I add more to this bundle, I can just add them to this table. And then in my sidebar area here, I've added an animated graphic, which I made in Canva. And I've made it animated on purpose because I really want someone's eye to be drawn over to this section, because this will lead them to another lesson within this hub, which gives them their bonus download. Now I can see here that I've actually forgotten to add in the button or a call to action. So that could be just a normal text link to actually take them to that lesson. So I'm going to have to go the long way around. That's something for me to do after this video. So yeah, essentially that button would take them to here, which obviously they might have come straight to here initially, but if they didn't, then there is another opportunity within this lesson to prompt them to move over to here. So within this lesson, this is where they can download this lovely little bundle of goodies. So this is actually a sample of all of my colouring books and planners that I have inside of the Happy Hub. So the Happy Hub is a separate Teachery product that I have. I will show you that in a second. And all I want to do really is, obviously there are a few things. So firstly, I want to delight my customers. So now that they've logged into this Teachery Hub and they've given me their email address, I want to say thank you for that by giving them something that is related to the product that they've just bought. Someone that is into colouring is obviously going to love having colouring books and colouring pages. Therefore, Giving them a sample of my work is a great way to make use of the product that they've just bought, testing out all their pencils and practicing skin tones before applying it to one of these colouring pages. But equally, it's an introduction to some of the other work that I create, which means that I could potentially have another sale from them. But if I don't, that's also fine, because I know that they would have got enjoyment from this. And ultimately, as long as people are happy, I am happy. They would come to this page, they can click this little button here to download their bonus gift. I've told them that this is from my Happy Hub collection and there's a secret link to get 40% off. And the reason that it's a secret link is because I will not put this discount anywhere else. So I think that's just a little bit fun. It's got that like element of like, oh wow, I'm really getting something exciting here. Just to further add value to what this Happy Hub is, I've given a little preview of what they can expect to see inside. I know from being immersed in the colouring community for quite a while, when they like an artist, they will go out and buy all of that artist's work. They just love it. They like collecting things, but they're also very hot on, I won't buy it if the pages inside don't kind of speak to me, or most of them speak to me, which I can understand as a creative person. So it's very important for me to give people previews of my work. So all I've done here is I've created a Canva presentation, and I've just got the embed code and added it into a content block within Teachery. But it serves as a nice little slideshow. They can flick through and see all of my work, and this just gives them a nice little overview as to what they would get if they decided to purchase the Happy Hub collection. And as I said, the bundle up here is actually a taster of this. And then just to, if someone can't be bothered to go through all of that, I've added this little recap section where I list out everything inside that bundle and also the value of it as well, just to further enforce that discount that they're getting. And again, I've used this sidebar area the same way as I did on the other one, with a bit of a visual call to action, just to really try and prompt them onto that next step of their customer journey to hopefully have them buy the Happy Hub bundle as well. So when you click that button, it opens up the Thrivecart sales page. Admittedly, I have not actually done the rebranding on this. It's got the old branding, so I do need to update that. And again, I've got the recap of everything that they will get. And then at the bottom, they can pay for this and they get that discount applied as well. So it's actually a super big saving that they get. And I'm really excited to actually finally have put this extra step into my Colouring Companion Hub, because prior to becoming a student of Maria's course, this was something that I just kept putting off because I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I was leaving money on the table, but I just left it because I just felt so like bleh about it. I wasn't excited about it. But then when I went through some of Maria's course, it really lit a fire under me, and it got me really excited and motivated again to come back to this and readdress it. So I really hope you found that customer journey part interesting. I think now I just want to talk a little bit more about designing on Teachery, which is something that I absolutely love. I truly believe that the recipe for a super gorgeous Teachery course is to just pay attention to a couple of things. And those things are using a consistent color palette. And this is why I always teach to start with curating a visual vibe in the form of a mood board way before you even dive into Teachery, because this part is so important. It just guides your design decisions. It gives you a North Star. So when you come into Teachery, you feel less overwhelmed because you'll have your color choices ready. So there's that aspect, having a consistent color palette. And the other one is making use of the areas within Teachery that you can customize, which is pretty much everywhere. And we have this main header section here that you can add really gorgeous graphics to. You can add in thumbnail images. There's tons of different things you can add into your sidebar within the lesson content itself. So I think really just adding in loads of decorative and visual elements that emphasize the stuff that goes along with your course or your content or your digital product, whatever it is that you're putting on Teachery. And then the final thing is If you're feeling a little bit frisky, going ahead and added in some custom CSS just to do some more unique things. So for example, these nice little hover effects that I have on my cards, or this gradient text here, little things like that. Actually not too hard to do with a little bit of code. It's just helpful to have someone demonstrate it to you. I really try and talk through my design thoughts and processes throughout the Teachery Makeover course. So I'm just going to try and condense some of that down for you in the example of the Colouring Companion Hub. So let's just quickly take a look at that now. So here's the Colouring Companion mock-up within Canva. So typically once I've done a mood board, my next step would be to mock up how I think the course should look. Sometimes I do this in Canva. Typically for freelance clients, I will use Figma. But because I wanted this to be quite quick and easy, I actually used this template. So I provide a Canva mock-up template for the minimal theme in Teachery as part of my Teachery Makeover course. And then I just come into here and added in my images and found some cute little decorative elements. I'm really trying to go for that creative and playful vibe, as well as pull in some of the colors from my new brand palette for my new business. And yeah, I've just condensed that all together into this mock-up here. So a mock-up is just a great way to see how all those colors and those fonts and textures and graphical elements all work together before moving it over to Teachery. So you can imagine if you were trying to pull together a color scheme within Teachery Style Editor and you weren't sure of the hex codes and which bit went where within the Teachery Style Editor, it can become a bit of a hot mess quite quickly. So if you can do this, then when you head over to Teachery, you can just click on an element on the page here, and then you'll be able to grab the hex code for it, and you can pop that into Teachery's Style Editor. This section up here, that would be my header image that I could add within Teachery at the very top of the page. And then these bits here, so this top section would also be an image that I would pop in and it would pull through on the overview page. So if I go into Teachery now, I will show you how that all works. So here's my admin area of the Colouring Companion course. So here's my header image, and I've got that set to full width because I always think it looks so much better when you don't have the gaps down the side of the page. That's a personal choice, but I always like to point that one out because I think sometimes people don't realize that it's there. And another thing to note is that these title sections here, these are images. I am actually planning to come back to these and do them as code. And I think I should be able to figure out how to do that with code. And the reason I will do that is because images being used for text, especially because I come from a web background, accessibility is so important to me. And even though I love how this looks visually, it does kind of annoy me that I know that I'm not adhering to accessibility best practices. And so I will come back at a point in the future and update those to be hard coded so that the text is actually rendered as text on the page and not rendered as an image. It might mean that it doesn't look quite as nice. I'm okay with that. And the same applies for this section here. So at the moment, this text is actually part of the image. I'm pretty confident that I can code this as well. So I will be coming back and coding those. But anyway, I digress. Just wanted to raise that point. So up here, header image, and then down here we have these thumbnail images as well. So all I've done to make these appear through on the overview page is within the lessons or sections, if you will. I just open one of those up. This top content box normally will say something like lesson 1 in small text. So all I've done there is I've deleted that text and uploaded an image there instead, and then that pulls through on the overview page. Now you might also be wondering, wait a sec, how have you got this nice little full width button with a hover effect, and you've got these nice drop shadows behind your course, and you've got a background image? It's very subtle, but I have got a background image there. Like, how have you done that? Again, this is all stuff that I teach within my Teachery Makeover course. You don't even need to do that much with CSS to make something just look totally amazing. So yeah, that's all included as well. But honestly, stuff like that is not essential. I'm a bit of a geek, so I really love things like that. So it makes sense for me to really embrace that side of me because, of course, I come from that background. I come from a branding and web background, so this stuff excites me. But you can totally make Teachery look really unique just through playing around with your lesson thumbnail images, adding in a few fun visual elements, so a visual divider between content blocks or different types of embedded content, for example, from Google Drive or Canva. And then of course, just playing around with this header image section. Honestly, if you just have a lovely consistent color palette where all the colors work harmoniously with one another and you pick fonts that are legible, but also pull in some of that visual vibe that you're going for, honestly, your course will be transformed. So don't go thinking that you need to be adding all of this code to make your course look totally unique. You do not. It is just something that I love to do and I love to teach. So I'm mentioning it in case you're interested, but just know that it's not necessary. You don't have to go that far. For example, a really fun way that you can add some visual excitement to your course is through beautiful call to action buttons. I know this is something that Maria Alejandra does very, very well, and it's also something that I love to do. And here are a few designs that I played around with for my newly rebranded coloring companion hub. I do like this one the most actually, but I ended up going with this pink one because I felt like the pink button contrasted more against the teal background. So I went for this one in the end. And whilst we're here, I just wanted to show you the Happy Hub as well. So if someone chose to, once they're in this section, if they chose to go ahead and buy the Happy Hub, they would then be thrown into a customer hub that looks just like this one here. And all I've done is this, using that Canva mockup template, is I've just changed the color scheme a little bit. So rather than the primary color being the turquoise that is from my brand color palette, I've chosen the pink instead. And then I've introduced this navy blue color here. That's not actually part of my brand color palette. However, I wanted something to contrast against the pink. So that's why I chose the blue. But I've used the exact same formula of, adding in these little thumbnail images with these little lesson titles. Same fonts, so it's really quick for me to do. And then I just went ahead and added that into Teachery. So what is really good about that is that a customer that goes from the Colouring Companion Hub and then goes into the Happy Hub will instantly know that those two products are related. They fall under my brand because they've got that same feel. So they've got that creative and playful feel. So I really hope that that makes sense. I hope you've enjoyed watching this behind the scenes. If you have any questions, I would love to hear them because I am all ears. I cannot wait to help you. Also, if you're interested in my Teachery Makeover course, there is still the pre-sale price because I'm still building this course. So I'm adding lessons as and when I record them, and so because of that I'm currently offering it for half price, so I will link that below. If you're also interested in knowing more about the customer journey side, this is Maria Alejandra's absolute zone of genius, so I'll link to her course as well. If you have any questions on Teachery design or you'd like to work one-to-one with me as well, that is an option that I'm going to be offering in the future. Please feel free to reach out. But otherwise, I really hope you got a little bit of inspiration from this video because I understand that trying to piece together all the moving parts within Teachery and then how one thing links to another and how that links to your mailing list and all those things, it can be quite confusing. So I hope I've at least presented you with some options to go ahead and maybe do your own research, enroll in one of our courses, or, just ask me a question and I can help you. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this. I will catch you again soon in another behind the scenes video.